Hello, and welcome to Shane and Stuff, and episode 2 of The Wonderful World of Board Games, the teaching series designed to teach you all you need to know about the wonderful world of board games. Today, I'm going to talk about gateway games. What is a gateway game, you may ask? Well, I think the simplest way to describe it is a game that you could basically teach anybody to play regardless of their experience in the world of modern board games. And I should also add that it should be quick to teach and quick to play so as not to overwhelm the newbies and therefore giving them a pleasant experience so that hopefully they'll come back to the wonderful world of board games. So in this video, I'll be showing you a couple of classic gateway games, but then a few others that I like to use when introducing people to the hobby. Now, some of the best gateway games are abstract style games, which usually have very few actions to choose from, but still give you a lot of interesting choices to make. They also generally look really good on the table, and some of the most popular ones are Splendor, Century Spice Road, and King Domino. And two others that I don't have a copy of to show you are Azul and Sagrada, but these are just some of the most popular ones. I won't go into how each of these play, I'll let you discover those on your own. But as you can see, they all look fantastic, and you can usually get multiple plays in one session. So coming up are my favorites, which may or may not be what pops into people's minds when they first think of gateway games. First up, one of the most widely agreed upon gateway games, and in general, most loved games, is Ticket to Ride. But before I get into that, I'd like to tell you that I'm coming to you from fabulous Las Vegas inside Groundswell Cafe, where you can find legit coffee and board games. I'm sipping on this delicious iced coffee right now. But they also have a fabulous AeroPress coffee. They also make pistachio milk lattes where they make their own pistachio milk in-house. So delicious. But what was I talking about? Oh, Ticket to Ride. So Ticket to Ride is a set collection game in which you'll be acquiring train cards in order to lay down your trains on tracks, connecting routes between two cities and scoring points. You'll also have these ticket cards, which want you to connect two cities with your trains in order to get the points indicated. If at the end of the game you have not completed these, if you've not connected these, this will be points against you. So you basically go until someone has laid all their trains except two or less, and then everyone gets one more turn, and then the game ends. And you add up points. So that's pretty much it. You keep on drawing train cards, laying down trains, trying to complete your destinations until the game ends, and hopefully you have the highest score. There are also many different versions of Ticket to Ride, so if you've played this version a lot and you're ready to step it up a notch, you can dive into any other versions. Like Ticket to Ride Europe adds the concept of train stations. I think it's the Marklin edition, which will add passengers. The Nordic edition is for 3 players and makes it a very tight board, and it has the concept of tunnels. So just within Ticket to Ride, there are so many options and so many games you could play. Speaking of taking it up a notch, if you've played Ticket to Ride and you're ready to up the depth a little bit, another great lighter set collection game is New York 1901. So as you can see, New York 1901 is another game that is just gorgeous on the table. In this game, you'll be drawing cards that are going to give you lots to claim, and then you can build buildings on those lots. And these buildings are in these Tetris-like shapes. So you've got to plan where you're claiming your lots and how you're gonna form your buildings. So all of the lots either consist of just 2 spaces or 3 spaces marked by these flower symbols. And so what you do is you take a lot on your turn, and I could put a worker now and claim 1 2-space yellow lot. I'm gonna put this worker here and hold on to that spot. Then it'll go around, come to me again, and now if this card's still here, I can take this, and I'm gonna claim this 3-space lot. Now after you've claimed a lot, you have an option to build a building. And so since I own these 2 lots, I can put any building in that space that fits. So I can take this 5-point bronze building, take my workers away, and put it there. Any leftover space in those lots just remain open. So after I place that building, I would get 5 points. Now, as long as I've crossed the 6-point threshold, I can start building my silver buildings. And then I need to get to 18 points in order to build my gold buildings. Now, in order to maximize points, instead of just building silver and gold, what you want to do is demolish older buildings that you have and build on top of them. You must always build on top of an inferior technology building with your new building. So I can't build a silver building on top of a demolished silver building. So you have to be careful because you can run out of room. So on a future turn, I can then choose to demolish this bronze building, and it's just going to go back into the box, and I can place this building in that space, and it's the perfect shape. And that would give me 6 more points. So round and round you go, taking lots, claiming them with your workers, building, demolishing, upgrading your buildings, and gaining points. You go until one person either has only 4 skyscrapers left, or there are no more cards to draw to refill the market here. So you can play this game in that very simple mode, or you can also play with special action cards. Each person has 3 of the same special action cards, so you can play these once per game. They basically get you an extra action in your turn. And then you can also add a layer of the street bonuses. At the beginning of the game, you draw 3 out of the 5 street bonus cards. And whoever has the most buildings touching those specific streets is going to get 5 more points. And then you can also play with game objective bonus points. This one is the Bronze Baron. So basically, if at the end of the game you have 4, 5, or 6 bronze buildings, meaning you have not demolished them, then you would get 5, 10, or 15 points. So that could really change up how a game plays. All that wrapped up in this gorgeous package, and you just have a phenomenal game that just about anybody can play. Next up is Tokaido, and as you can see, it is another gorgeous game. I would even say this game has an elegant design to it. The theme of Tokaido is actually steeped in Japanese history. You are a journeyer traveling along the Tokaido Road that connected the cities of Edo, or modern-day Tokyo, and Kyoto. The Tokaido Road was 500 kilometers long and ran along the coast of the biggest island of the Japanese archipelago, and it took travelers 2 weeks to complete. Along the road were various inns and places to stop. So as you travel along, you will be completing paintings, hanging out in hot springs, having encounters with interesting travelers, stopping at inns and having delicious meals, stopping at some markets to buy some wares. And the goal is basically to have the most zenful experience. So the more things that you can accomplish as you're enjoying your trip will make you the winner. And that, in a nutshell, is Tokaido. Next up is Star Trek Panic. Star Trek Panic is a co-op game where you actually work with the other players around the table to beat the game. Some of the more common introductory co-op games are Pandemic or 2 other games by the same designer called Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert. And these are great examples of co-op games as well, and I would put them all in the gateway level. However, I wanted to show you a different gateway co-op that's a lot of fun, Star Trek Panic. So in Star Trek Panic, you and up to 5 other players are each going to take on a role of one of the original Star Trek characters. So you have Spock, you have Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, McCoy, Scott, and Kirk. Each of them has a special ability that they'll be able to do on their turns. And basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be trying to achieve objectives in order to pass missions. And remember, Star Trek is on a 5-year mission, so if you complete 5 missions, you win the game. Basically, as you try to achieve these objectives, you're going to be attacked from all angles, from all sorts of enemies, and you'll be playing cards on your turn to fire at them, to put up shields, and to do other various effects. So the game has all sorts of missions that reference good old Star Trek episodes like The Trouble with Tribbles, of course. You have the Doomsday Machine, and you have the Naked Time, everyone's favorite shirtless Sulu episode. So that's basically it. Also on your turn, you're able to move the Enterprise by changing its facing once or moving forward. And if you move forward, basically any tokens that are in your front facing are going to come closer to you. So some of these missions include maybe rescuing a ship. So it's going to be out here. So you're going to have to turn the ship once per turn to face it. Then you're going to have to move forward and bring it close to you. You also have force fields that can freeze ships. If you have 3 destroyed sections of hull, you can't maneuver anymore, which is really a pain, especially if you have to maneuver to pass the mission. You've got to repair, and to repair you need dilithium and tritanium, and there's not a lot in there, and you end up discarding a card, and it's that one dilithium you needed, and everything goes just bad. It's a lot of fun, basically trying not to explode the Enterprise and complete your 5-year mission. And last up, but far from least, is the Grimm Forest. Grimm Forest is put out by Druid City Games, which is headed up by James Hudson, one of the most phenomenal humans I know of. And he runs a Facebook group called the Board Game Spotlight, which is my favorite place to hang out online to talk with like-minded people about board games. It's called the Care Bear group because it is kept extremely positive there. It's a wonderful place to go. Please check it out. So without further ado, in the Grimm Forest, you will play as a niece or nephew of the 3 little pigs. So the 3 little pigs have gotten senile, and the king is looking for new builders. So you're basically in a race to build 3 houses, and the first person to build 3 houses wins the game. So on each turn, everyone's going to go to a location to gather resources. You're going to choose that location in secret. And then once everyone is chosen, you're going to see where everyone's going. So I went to brick, and this guy went to wood. This little piggy went to the wood. If when you get to a location, you're the only one there, you will get all of the resources. But if more than one person is there, you will split up the resources. So if 2 people went to the brickyard, you're going to have to each get 1 brick, and then 1 remainder will stay here. After everyone has gathered their resources, you will then go around and take turns taking 2 actions each. Those actions consist of spending resources to build a part of a house, drawing fable cards, gaining 1 resource of your choice, or taking special actions that you may have on a friend card if you've acquired them. There are a lot of other friends, a lot of other amazing characters. There's The Little Mermaid and Snow White, and the art in this game is off the hook by Mr. Cuddington, who has done the art for Stonemaire's Charterstone and a whole slew of other games. There's The Little Mermaid, Rapunzel, Aladdin, Snow White. They're all in here. They're in a fairy tale. They're probably in here. But also, when you draw fable cards, these cards you play when you play your gather cards. These do various things, like you could send wolves to a location and they'll eat all the resources, or you can have the big bad wolf huff and puff and knock apart someone's house down. So basically you keep playing through rounds until one person completes their 3rd house, and you finish that round, and if no one else completes the 3rd house, that person wins. If in that round more than one person completes 3 houses, then whoever built the most sturdy houses wins. Brick is sturdier than wood, is sturdier than straw, of course. So this game has a whole bunch of really fun sort of take that elements, you know, where the wolves eat people's resources, or you can swap 2 people's gather cards and now they go to different places, and maybe they put a wolf somewhere and now they end up going where they put the wolf. It's a great mix of luck and strategy where you try to know where your opponents are going to go or what they're going to do, and you hope for those fable cards you need or the friend cards you need. I've played it almost 10 times now, I think, and I still haven't seen all the cards in the game. There are some games that are a little more advanced than others that you take out if it's a game with beginners, and I've taught this to a lot of people. So I have yet to play a game with the advanced cards. Actually, no, I've played 1 game with the advanced cards, and they're amazing. You can play this game tons of times, and it's different every time. You can play 2 to 4 players. It's phenomenal. I hope they come out with an expansion, but I do know they just announced they're working on the next Grimm game, and it's called the Grimm Masquerade. So keep an eye out for that. So that wraps up my Gateway Games segment. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Gateway games are to expose new players to the hobby. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and hit that notification button so you know when I come out with my next episode. The next episode of The Wonderful World of Board Games will be on my new favorite mechanism and game type, worker placement. So we'll definitely be taking a look at Rajas of the Ganges, Sulkin, A Feast for Odin, and maybe something else. But until then, game on, end of line.